Is there one place that you would not want to see any Star Wars stuff at all?
Wow. That would be our bed. No Star Wars things in our bed.
Not even with me in costume.
Oh, maybe.
It started when I was in primary 1. Then my dad promised that if I did well for my exams, he would buy me every Star Wars figure there was. He took a trolley and he took down every single figure and vehicle there was on the shelf. I think he spent about $200. That was a pretty big deal. From that day on, everything else was history. The collection started from there. My name is Jasper, and I'm 47 years old this year. I'm a HR director in an agri-food firm. I'm a true blue Star Wars fan. Anything Star Wars is good. So I'm not here to say that movie was bad or this movie was better. The interesting thing about the Star Wars movie franchise is that they refresh and give a new perspective to the original stuff that we once loved. In the past, we didn't really take notice of the bounty hunter, IG-88, but in Mandalorian, we got to love him. Same with the Ugnaught in the carbonite chamber, but in Mandalorian, he became a very lovable character. And of course, the different iterations of Boba Fett, from Return of the Jedi to a short glimpse where Cobb Vanth was wearing his armor, to now the latest Deadbot Boba. Using the same icons, they managed to refresh it and to give it a more, that character is not dead, there is still more to him. And I think that really helps the continuity of it, and also for it to transcend generations. You know, we don't want to be stuck seeing the same characters, but we want to see the characters grow, and I think that the franchise has done pretty well in that respect. The first item I actually unboxed was a Red Guard figure. You know, when you play with toys, there will be always a king kind of figure. And I thought the Red Guard was so cool because he had a real cloth cape and his face was so menacingly simple. I wouldn't say that I'm a collector in that I don't go for limited edition or signature edition items. I think this collection here is my pride and joy. As I walk past, you know, I always stop to just take a look again, even though I'm seeing this every day, but it just brings me joy to just look at one particular helmet closer and all that. What excites me about the next item that I want to get is the process of actually what I would be doing to build it or to customize it or to make it screen accurate. So that actually makes my decision as to which item I want to get next. Well, in the past, we didn't have the internet. Yes, I'm that old. And so it was really playing back VHS tapes, pausing at that scene to try and have a closer look at what the costume was or that prop was. And then when the internet came about, there was a lot more information available. And right now, you know, with Disney Plus, you can really go 4K, pause, and really do your research. There are also a lot of communities out there in the forums that actually help to identify some of these screen use props. The difficulty is not finding the information, but the difficulty is finding that item itself again after 40 over years. The latest edition is of course Han in carbonite. A lot of effort was put into replicate screen use items on the prop. And so the Volvo panel that's used for Han in carbonite was a found item from a 1976 Volvo 343BL car. You know, so they took the dashboard and they flipped it around, and then that's the 8 panels you see on the side of it. What was used was easy because the internet provided that information. Sourcing that took me maybe 2-3 years until I finally saw somebody posted that item on eBay, and yep, without looking, it's a buy it now step for me immediately. And when it first arrived, it was amazing to be holding that dashboard and says, yeah, boy, they really, you know, this is it. This was the panel that they used to make that. And it has a lot of meaning for me because this is not a project that I did on my own. I think my wife helped me build it, and it's amazing what she had to go through. You know, getting her hands dirty with 20 layers of PVA glue, you know, covering herself in dust, sand dust, and paint dust. And I think that has that special meaning. that is not just a recreation of Han, but it's, I think, one of the first props that I didn't build by myself, but my wife joined in. I must say that the carbonite material is a lot more exaggerated than the original prop. That was creative license used by me because I wanted that texture to come out more. Well, my collection made many changes over the years. I used to have figures collection from the original Kenner figures till I had the 1/6 scale. And then there were also the premium format figures. And then there were a whole host of resin spaceships. Right now, what sparks joy is actually a life-size weapons wall for me. And so for that to happen, I had to actually give up some parts of my older collection. Proceeds actually went to charity. So that was a good send-off for that collection that I had in order for me to start on this next focus, which is actually the weapons wall. I think the collection has been a little bit more focused over the last couple of years. And I think I'm beginning to find that the focus is correct, which is actually real-world life-size props at 1:1 scale. And since I can't have full costumes of each of these figures, I have decided that the focus will remain on helmets and weapons, blasters, and the actual items that were used in the movies. For example, Han Solo's dice, the wooden Stormtrooper doll in Rogue One, the piece of Beskar steel that was used in Mandalorian. So these, actually, it became more interesting to say that, hey, it's actually not a scaled replica, but more of this was actually a replica of the prop that was actually used in the movie. So moving forward, I can't see myself having a very different focus other than finding a plot of land and building the entire Millennium Falcon as my house. I am a member of the 501st Legion Singapore Garrison. So we are a costuming group, a Star Wars costuming group. We have like this First Order Stormtrooper suit here is my current costume. We wear the costume out at events, places where people want us to appear, like birthday parties or weddings. And there's also a charity element behind it. We go out, and that's why the tagline for us is actually bad guys doing good. So there's a charity element, and there's us having fun in our Star Wars costumes. I've been involved in this, I think, for more than 10 years. And with that exposure to my family who joins me at some of these events, they get to see what a fun community it is, how we actually have very good camaraderie with the other troopers, the other costumers, and the kind of excitement we get into when we put on our costumes, and us interacting with the public. I think that also sparks a very community excitement and interest in my wife and son. I don't think you can ever find people who like exactly the same things you do. So if I like Star Wars and my family doesn't, it doesn't matter, but what I appreciate is that they accept that I like Star Wars and they try to tie in with that acceptance. My son likes Pokemon, Alex likes Pokemon. I don't think I like it, no offense to him, but I will appreciate that he likes it, and I will tie in my activities with his love for Pokemon. So for example, they will follow me when I'm in my costume, trooping with my friends. They join in, and after a while, they also find, hey, I want to do this too. And that's why my son got his own costume, and then subsequently now, my wife has her own costume. So I think that's how it all began, and I think the journey's not ended. There's still a long way more to go. I think I just hope that my wife's costume collection don't overpass mine. Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything about this Star Wars collection. I like it just as it is. Okay, maybe add more to the collection. Okay, for 501st, my costume is a Shadow Biker Scout. And if we get the chance in space, maybe we could create a Pokemon speeder bike or something.
Okay.
Well, it actually started from a long time ago. I knew that this was a passion of his, and we were very blessed to be able to have this house. And yet so many things to put up, right? So this display here, it worked out really nicely. It's just an opportunity for him to do what he loves, showcase what he has, and it makes him happy, so why not?
What was the one thing that Jasper did that sealed the deal?
He bought the house on my birthday. It's a birthday present, so it's like anything you want.
Is there one place that you would not want to see any Star Wars stuff at all?
Wow. That would be our bed. No Star Wars things in our bed.
Not even with me in costume.
Oh, maybe.
No Star Wars bed sheets?
No Star Wars bed sheet.
So what does Star Wars mean for me, other than it being the greatest movies ever produced in my life? When they produced Star Wars, though, they were trying to represent the key issues that was happening in those times, in the 70s and the 80s. And I think those issues had transcended time. To today, we are still struggling with the same issues of right versus wrong, adventure, friendship, making hard decisions. That to me is still very relevant today, and it is an extension of my imagination. You know, you see a lot of these same concepts still being featured in the world we live in today. So I think it's timeless. I think these kind of concepts don't go away, and it has helped shape the way I view the world. It has helped shape the way I actually make decisions sometimes. People who say, you know, what would Jesus do? I would probably say, you know, what would Vader do, you know, in situations such as this. So I think it is still relevant. I don't think I can define the meaning of Star Wars in that few sentences, but I think it is a lot deeper and broader than that, and I don't think I see an end to how Star Wars will continue to have meaning in my life.